it's not physically possible to hire enough judges to process immigrants. Well, guess what? Obama did it. Obama did it. W did it. Clinton did it. Biden did it. Maybe if you don't illegally fire them, we'll have enough. Just thinking out loud. And I love how Republicans are just constantly making excuses for this guy. Here's Florida Rep. Byron Donalds. All right, here it comes.
And joining me now is Congressman Byron Donalds, Republican from Florida. We should also note that he is
Uncle
running
Byron
for governor in the great state of Florida, the Sunshine State. Congressman, thank you so much for being here.
Well, you know what? At least he'd be out of Congress. I mean, he can't be any worse than DeSantos.
It's good to be back with you.
It's good to have you back. I know it's a busy time for you, so we really appreciate it. We're going to talk about the president's comment there as well as the economy. But let's talk about that moment when he said, I don't know, when I asked him if he has to uphold the Constitution of as the president of the United States.
Okay, so I have not seen this yet. How much do you want to bet? One, he doesn't answer the question with regards to any comment about Trump not knowing if he's supposed to uphold the Constitution. And by definition, then he will also, too, deflect to something else. Perhaps that bullshit, there's not enough judges to handle it story. That's what's coming. Here it comes. Here it comes.
What was your reaction to hearing that? Do you think he has to uphold every part of the Constitution?
Yes. Yes, he does. Yes. That's the oath. Remember that part? I can't believe there's a goddamn fly again. I can't believe this is what's occupying this is news. The President of the United States doesn't know if he's supposed to uphold the Constitution. Are we really having this conversation? I can't wait to see what this douchebag says. And I said it because I've seen him before. There's nothing impressive about Uncle Byron here. He's the rich white dude's bitch. That's all he does. That's it. Come on my show and prove me wrong.
Including the Fifth Amendment.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. I think what the president was talking.
Boom. First of all, let's be clear. That's it. I'm not going to answer your question because we got to be clear.
Talking about is, yes, he's going to uphold the Constitution. He's taking advice from.
That's not what he said. He says he doesn't know. Now you're telling me he's going to do it.
His legal team, led obviously by the White House counsel, the Attorney General of the United States, everybody working at the Department of Home.
You can just say the Attorney General. We know she's representing the United States.
Homeland Security about all of the parameters that they are using to deport illegal aliens out of this country, which is the core of President Trump's victory last night.
Fine. And here again, it's the core of President Trump's victory. Let's go back to answering the question. Should he not still be upholding the Constitution to include due process? If you watched yesterday's show, we already know that due process applies to everyone, even to non-citizens not in the United States. That's those who are in international waters boarded by the Coast Guard. Oh, and I love he sits there with his back so straight up and I'm so smart and you should be listening to me. No.
November, let's remember the.
Yeah, we remember. We know he won thanks to Elon Musk rigging things when there were bomb scares in Pennsylvania or whatever other conspiracy theories going right now. He won. Point is, he still has to uphold the Constitution. You just said that a couple minutes ago. A couple seconds ago.
American people have been clear that they want criminal illegal aliens, number one.
Okay, so the American people have not been clear, because when we looked at those three pie chunks of where the votes fell, a slightly larger piece of pie represented Donald's over Kamala Harris's. But when you take everybody who did not vote, combined with the small fraction of people who voted for some third party, which is still a waste, until you get somebody with the popularity. Last time we had a potential third party candidate that had a shot was during Clinton's victory, when he went up against Bush Sr. and Ross Perot. Ross Perot then was the man until he backed out. Anyway, let's see how this guy's tried to skirt the question.
One, and then illegal aliens overall return to their home country.
Fine. Let's get rid of all these murderers and rapists that are terrorizing the country, because we know that there's no black on black crime. None of that. We know that there's no old white Republican men down here in your state of Florida that are the actual statutory rapists that you should be worried about. That's not happening. Right. Yeah, no.
Donald Trump is fulfilling that promise. Now, I think.
Fine. I'm all for this guy succeeding. But he's got to do it legally. This is not that hard.
To the broader question in this entire situation, is it okay for the previous administration to abuse the
previous administration's gone, and this is why she needs to get off her ass, start pacing back and forth, and instead of turn this to meet the press, the person meeting the press, grill them. I need to get in there to NBC and teach these people how to do interviews. It's called an interrogation. When he's going to sit there and blame something that the Mango Mussolini is doing, and he's going to blame that on Joe Biden? Oh, well, if he wouldn't let them in here in the first place, stop. Your big, strong candidate for president is in office. He opened his mouth. Now it's time to put up or shut up. And we all know Donald Trump cannot shut up. So I pray he puts up.
Border security laws, abuse asylum, abuse temporary protected status.
I'm not even going to listen to that part.
And you're talking about the numbers. You're saying there are so many people here that it would just take too long. But and you're talking about the
years to actually process where it would take us 15 years to actually process.
Do you know who said that first? He's saying it would take us 15 years. Hillary Clinton said that. I'm trying to do the math, and I'm just too pissed. 15 years ago, during the 87, no, let's see, what are we in? 5, back to 15, 17 years ago, during the 2008 campaign, when she ran in the primaries against Barack, to deport all of the illegal aliens back then. And I'm sure, based on what he's saying here, that there's plenty more now than what there were 17 years ago. God, it's been that long. It would have taken a 4-lane highway, all southbound, of charter buses filled every seat, a 4-lane highway from South Texas up to, I think it was Missouri or Kansas, bumper to bumper. To get them all out of the country. Now, because the horrible, criminal, crooked Joe Biden administration has let in so many more, it stands to reason said bumper to bumper traffic is now even worse. What is it now? 8 lanes wide? All the way up to Canada, maybe? So you're just bypassing due process because you can't handle the job you promised everybody you would do. Is that what I'm hearing? Because to me, that's what I'm hearing. And that's not okay.
Process people back out of the United States.
And you're talking about the numbers. You're saying there are so many people here that it would just take too long. But let me ask you, I mean, the Constitution says that everyone who's here is entitled to due process. So I understand there are big numbers that you are talking about and that the president is dealing with. But if you're going to follow the Constitution, don't you have to follow what it says by letter and law?
Well, I think first, the other thing is you have to look at this. When you come in, let's say on an asylum package, that is at the discretion of the administration.
No, it's not. No, actually, it's not. It's at the discretion of the administration that granted it. For that to be removed, it's going to go through the courts. And remember, this is all Joe Biden's fault. So Donnie doesn't have a say in the matter. Some of the judges that he appointed do.
The administration is now saying, you know what? We are going to have a legal detainer for you to be deported, and you are going to be removed from the United States. That's under the premise of how you came in. Second,
that's wrong. And this is where she needs to know that and put up to him. That's not accurate. It's one thing when he spews this shit on Fox, where they're helping him do it. But if you're going to have a conversation about immigration, you need to know the law too.
thing, every illegal alien that came here, the first thing they did is they broke the law coming into our country. They broke the law. Let's level set here.
Okay. And what happens when you break the law? If you would be watching my show, Uncle Byron, you would have seen just yesterday, I answered that question for you. You get due process. That's it. Oh, I'm glad this is a safe structure here. That I would have ripped these monitors down off the rack.
That's what they did. So there is an orderly process that the president and his team is going through. They're not just rounding up people and dropping them out of the country. That is not true.
Actually, that's exactly the video we're going to be taking a look at tomorrow, because I'm not going to get to it today. But that's exactly what happened. That's actually true.
Everybody that's been deported to this point has had a legal deportation order executed by the president's administration.
But in this,
except Abrego Garcia, except the gay hairdresser from somewhere down in Texas, except the baker in Baltimore, except the couple that's been here for 30, well, actually, maybe they did, because the couple that's been here illegally, and they admit accordingly, for 30 years, during which time they did basically nothing but work in like dishwasher jobs, anything that they could get that would pay something. And they raised a family because of birth, are here legally. They're not the problem. Not that this couple is a problem. But while they went in to check in with, God, it used to be INS, whatever it is, Customs and Immigration, and yeah, I guess it's ICE now. It shows you how old I am, right? Came in back when it was INS, Immigration Naturalization Service, and Customs was a separate agency. They went into one of their normal meetings to check in. And that's how they found out they're being deported. And they were, like almost immediately. Not giving them the opportunity to have that hearing that you are lying about. That is also a violation of the Eighth Amendment, the speedy trial, because you're denying it. Oh, how did you sleep, dude? How do you call yourself a good person? Oh, and I'll bet it says, if we were to pull up his profile right now and somewhere, it would say father and Christian and all this other bullshit. Oh, and this isn't me being a libtard. This is real. This is a congressman sticking up for T-Rump, for someone who has blatantly ignored the Constitution.
This case, in the case of Kilmer Abrego Garcia, the administration said it was an administrative error. And in 2019, an immigration judge issued an order that's still in effect that he should not be deported back to El Salvador.
So there again, there's one that said he should not be deported. He was not been granted asylum based on the torture, but he was granted not to be deported, even though it wasn't asylum. He was still they were still told not to deport him because maybe he's not going to be tortured, but he's going to be killed. Like there's a difference. I'm actually twitching right now. I just want to smack his bald head, try to knock some sense into him. Not that I will behave. I'd say that figuratively. I don't want to get censored.
And I guess this goes back to the question that I was asking to President Trump. Do you think that everyone, citizens and non-citizens, are entitled to due process?
Well, first and foremost, let me be clear with you. When it comes to due process, that is a privilege reserved for American citizens.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If you're one of two things here, Uncle Byron, you're either pathetically uninformed and don't belong holding the position you have, or you're lying. That's all there is. Like I've been saying for the past hour and 44 minutes exactly, it's not that hard. It's only one of those two. It's not reserved just for citizens. I found that out despite my degree in constitutional law. And when I say that, I don't have a law degree. It's my political science degree. But that was the focus, was the Constitution, knowing that I was going to get into federal law enforcement. I don't know. Maybe I thought I should have read the Constitution. Clearly, this asshat didn't. And neither did the guy that Uncle Byron here sucks up to every day. Oh, this is disgusting.
When people are in our country illegally, there is a semblance of due process, but not nearly at the level of a United States citizen, of an American.
That's partially true, in that there is a slightly different burden of proof for illegal immigration hearings. But that doesn't mean you get put on a plane and shipped out of the country, Uncle Byron. And yes, you do get due process, especially if you're Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and you did all these violent crimes that your buddies are accusing him of. Those aren't immigration violations. Those are violent crimes for which he gets a trial and an attorney and has the right to cross-examine your witnesses and has the right to present his own witnesses, just like everyone else. Oh, I do want to like a split screen thing. So as he's lying, because that's what it is, let's just call it what it is. Uncle Byron is a liar. I want to put up the links that we had yesterday at the same. I just don't know how to do it. I'm not going to try to figure it out now. Actually,
There are two different standards. You come to America, you are a guest in the United States. That privilege can be revoked. And a lot of these illegal aliens were not guests. They showed up at the southern border. Joe Biden abused our laws, ignored our laws, and let them in.
And yet,
so what are the American people supposed to say about that?
Well, the Constitution, I mean, let me just read you. This is the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces. And then it goes on to say, nor shall any person be subjected for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life, limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So the Constitution says any person, not citizen. And therein lies the debate and the root of my question. I mean,
it's not a debate.
Does any person just apply to citizens in your mind, or does it apply to citizens and non-citizens? The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says it applies to citizens and non-citizens.
Well, let's be very clear. First and foremost, when the framers wrote our Constitution, they never envisioned that there would be an executive that would allow millions.
They never envisioned that there would be an executive. In fact, yes, they did envision that there could be an executive who would abuse these rights and powers and authorities. That's why we prevented this from becoming a king. But you don't have a set of balls to stand up to him and say what's going on is wrong. You're a coward, Uncle Byron. That's all you are. Oh, this is pathetic. This is the best we can do? Is this asshat? No wonder there's people moving into Florida. We got to fix this shit. We got to get better people to do it. The hicks that live here now certainly screwed it up.
Millions of people to come into the country illegally. They never fathomed that. Number two, more importantly, you have a situation right now. Is it okay?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. More importantly than Joe Biden screwing things up, what could that be?
For any administration to not follow the law, abuse border security laws,
like your boss is? And even though you're supposed to be an equal and separate authority, clearly you don't have the balls to do that. You can't. Oh, who supports this guy?
millions of people in and then hide behind the court system to say, well, now they're here, so now we have to go.
This is where she's failing as a journalist. Shut him up. Shut him up. I don't do gotcha interviews because I would have given him all the questions in advance. But I'm going to flat out tell you, Joe Biden ain't in office anymore, dude. Oh, coffee. I got some more coffee during the break. Speaking of which, we're coming up on, I need to do just that. This is amazing. He's sitting here with a straight face and saying this shit.
Go through a lengthy process. Let's examine this right now. Right now, what we know is that when people came into the country illegally, almost 90% of them would not even go to the hearings. So if you're supposed to show up for.
Okay, here's why. Let's put it back up there because we had it up on the screen. Pretend the document that you see on your screen now, aside of Uncle Byron, is actually another web browser window. There, I would put a thing from the Constitution where it would be saying any person. And I would show the ones where it says about running for office, where you do have to be a citizen. We're voting, where you do have to be a citizen. And it says that. You're disgusting. That you call yourself a member of Congress is flat out sick. And that you don't have the balls to sit there on national television. Really, let's call that what it is too. Probably international television. Because if you think other governments aren't watching, that's equally as pathetic. And you blatantly lie about who is covered by the Constitution. And you think that even if that were true, that it was okay. And let's not forget the fact you're wrong. And not only are you wrong, you're lying. You know that you're wrong. This isn't a lie of omission. This is just an outright lie. And Uncle Byron is letting it happen.
For a hearing and you do not go, what are we supposed to do as a country?
Very quickly, let me just interject, and we're running out of time, and I still have to get to the economy.
Sure.
To your point about the hearings, does Congress need to work harder to get more funding, to get more resources?
No, they had them. But Doge came in and did away with it. Speaking of out of time, that is us. Thank you for joining us. Oh, wow. We're here every day. Join us every day. 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, 4 p.m. London time, and 12. Actually, that is now 11 p.m. Perth because they had their fallback. Let's go through some plugs. Jane Stahl has now authorized to give out her email address if you're interested in buying a bear. I forget what it was she was also having you email her for. But if you remember, you can do so by emailing Jane E. Stahl at Comcast.net. There's a bunch of things I'd love for you to check out. Not only our Facebook, but also I'm going to throw this one on here too. There's our Twitch feed. I'm going to save that one too because that's the one that goes to my phone. Twitch.tv/Yergz Media. Remember, Yergz Media is what we were before Mastiff Media. And some of these accounts were already formed. And as such, I couldn't change them. I already had a following and that kind of thing. So I didn't want to lose that brand. We just changed it on the face. Like you go to Yergz Media and you see Mastiff Media all over it. You'll know that's us. So just search Yergz Media on Twitch. Bookmark that one. And the reason you want to do that is because that is, like I said, is the feed that goes to yergz.com for the video. And then it's a totally separate feed that goes to Yergz Radio. Speaking of which, there they are. Yergz.com and Yergz Radio. Bookmark them too. Those are the ones you really need to keep. I mean, the Twitch would be good in case Yergz.com comes down for whatever reason. But the Twitch feed, Yergz.com and Yergz.radio. Because I just have a feeling these social media accounts are going to go away. I'm just going to stop doing it, or they're going to stop it for me. Because they don't like what I say. Sucks to hear the truth sometimes. If you are somewhere and you're having problems with censorship too, let me know by sending me an email to my hotel email address, yergz@shayyergz.com, and just say where you need a vacation from. I live in Moscow, and we will keep sending our signal one way or another to you wherever you're at. This coming Wednesday evening, 7 p.m., the Sea Ranch Civic Association has one of their business meetings. If you're a member, you're very much welcome to attend that at the Sea Ranch Civic Association building. Go to mysrca.com for more info or to sign up and register and become a member. Really cool group in the Nature Coast, northern Tampa Bay area of Western Florida. The Capital Switchboard is 202-224-3121. Call them, tell them Doge got a Goge. All right, gang. That is it for me. And that's far enough through the plugs. You can get us all, by the way, just right at news, NEWZ, at yergz.com. And that's it. I will see you tomorrow for many, 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 many more pissed off rants. Hoy. All right. See you tomorrow.
We've had our fun dancing around the former president's rather eccentric interpretations of our country's founding document. May I offer you something more explicit?
I only want to be a dictator for one day.
Just so you know, that is how it starts. I'm not saying anybody has to do the arms salute. Let's just start with a few people doing the arms salute, and we'll see if the arms salute catches on.
The average radio listener listens for 18 minutes. The average
Yergz
fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given, I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate?
Yergz.
Good point. The average hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common answer, I want to see what he'll say next.